Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the stories behind America's most valuable coins, rare mint terrors, and shocking treasures that could be hiding in your change jar right now. Rarest coins today. We're going deep into the history and value of one coin that's been making serious waves in the collector world: the 1966 Washington quarter. Believe it or not, this 25-cent coin from over half a century ago has been linked to a jaw-dropping value of up to $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.80, multiplied by a million. Let's break it all down. The 1966 quarter may look like just another worn-out coin from your loose change, but behind this ordinary appearance is an extraordinary story. This coin comes from a time of massive change in American coinage, and that history plays a huge role in why some examples are worth a fortune today. To understand the value, we need to go back to 1965. This was the year the United States Mint officially removed silver from dimes and quarters. Prior to that, all quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, the mint made a major change, switching to a copper-nickel-clad composition. That change carried over into 1966. But here's where things start to get interesting. In 1966, there were no mint marks used on coins. That was part of a temporary measure by the mint to discourage collectors from hoarding newly issued coins based on their mint origin. As a result, every quarter from 1965 to 1967 has no visible mint mark, no matter where it was struck. This lack of a mint mark makes it harder to track the coin's origin, but it also adds mystery and intrigue, especially when rare varieties and mint errors come into play. Now, here's where the million-dollar story enters the picture. There are rumors and reports of a small number of 1966 Washington quarters being accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver plancase at the blank discs used before the metal change in 1965. These plancase were supposed to be completely phased out, but in the massive operations of the U.S. Mint, mistakes happened. A silver blank slipping through the production line and ending up under the 1966 dies would result in a coin that looks like a regular quarter but weighs more and is made of precious metal. That alone makes it rare. But the story doesn't stop there. There's one particular 1966 quarter that allegedly went to auction, not just as a silver plancate error, but with an exceptionally sharp strike, flawless surface, and near-perfect preservation. This coin was said to be graded at the highest mint state levels, possibly MS-68 or higher, and struck on a transitional plancate. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck with the design of one year but on the metal of another, and those types of coins are highly sought after by serious collectors. The auction result. According to multiple sources in the numismatic world, the coin was sold in a private deal for approximately $1.8 million. While this price has never been officially confirmed by a public auction house, the story has become legendary. Whether it's fact or well-rooted collector folklore, it has put the 1966 quarter back into the spotlight and inspired treasure hunters everywhere to double-check their change. So what should you be looking for if you're hunting for $1 million quarter? First, look at the edge of the coin. A standard 1966 clad quarter will show a distinct line of copper around the edge, but the silver quarter will have clean, uniform silver edge with no copper in sight. Second, weigh the coin. A regular copper nickel clad quarter from 1966 should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver plancate quarter would weigh closer to 6.25 grams. You'll need a precise digital scale to tell the difference, ideally one that measures to 2 decimal places. Third, examine the surface and strike quality. If you happen to have a 1966 quarter that looks especially clean, sharp, and detailed, with where it might be worth getting graded. Coins graded MS-66 and above are quite rare, and those in MS-67 or higher can already sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the market. So let's break down the value spectrum for the 1966 Washington quarter. If it's circulated and in average condition, it's generally worth face value 25 cents. In uncirculated mint state, especially MS-65 or MS-66, Values can range from $10 to $50. High-grade specimens graded MS-67 or higher can reach values of $500 to $2,000. Rare mint errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, and transitional planchet errors can be worth thousands. And in the rarest, most valuable case, a verified 1966 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet, in pristine condition. With the right grading it could be worth over $1.8 million. Now, the chance of finding such a coin is extremely low, but it's not zero. Coins like this have been discovered before, usually by people who took the time to pay attention to the little details. And that's the lesson here. Rare coins aren't always shiny, gold, or flashy. Sometimes, they're the quiet ones that go unnoticed for decades until the right person flips them over, checks the edge, and realizes they're holding history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare quarters, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another chance to discover treasure in your own pocket. Have you ever found a rare or unusual coin? Let us know your story in the comments below. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep your coins close, and happy hunting style. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters all across the country. We're talking about the 1982D Washington quarter. Now you might be wondering, how can a regular quarter from 1982 possibly be worth over $1 million? Well, stick around, because the story behind this coin is a wild ride of history, minting errors, and incredible value. First, let's rewind a bit and talk about the history of the Washington quarter. This iconic American coin was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It was only supposed to be a one-year commemorative coin, but it was so well received that it stuck around and became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. Fast forward to the 1980s. By this time, the Washington quarter had undergone a few changes. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver and started making quarters out of copper nickel clad, due to the rising cost of silver. By the early 1980s, the Mint was trying to reduce costs in other ways too. And that brings us to 1982, a year that changed everything for coin collectors. In 1982, the U.S. Mint did something unusual. Due to budget constraints, they stopped producing uncirculated mint sets. That meant collectors had to get their coins straight from circulation. As a result, high-quality 1982 quarters are much harder to find than in other years. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The 1982D Washington quarter was minted in Denver, and it's known for a few rare varieties. One of the most famous is the no mint mark error from Philadelphia, but even the Denver versions can be valuable, especially when they're struck on the wrong planchet or have significant die errors. But what about that $1.4 million claim? Is it real? Well, there's a story that has made the rounds in collectors' circles and online auctions about a 1982D quarter that was struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of the standard copper nickel clad. This is not supposed to happen. Silver had not been used in quarters since 1964. If a silver blank was accidentally used in 1982, that would make it one of the rarest and most valuable mint errors ever recorded. A coin like that would be considered a once-in-a-lifetime find. It's not just rare, it's almost mythical. And when coins reach that level of rarity, the value skyrockets. According to some sources and speculative markets, such a coin could fetch up to $1.4 million at auction, especially if it's authenticated and in mint condition. Now keep in mind, that's the extreme high end of the spectrum, and such coins are extremely hard to find if they even exist outside of rumor. So what should you look for? First, check the date. You want a 1982D, meaning it was minted in Denver. Flip the coin and look at the edge. If you can see distinct layers of copper and nickel, it's a standard clad coin. But if the edge is solid silver in appearance and lacks the copper stripe, you might have something special. Next, Examine the coin's weight. A regular 1982D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it weighs closer to 6.25 grams, it could be silver. A precise digital scale will help here. If you find something suspicious, don't clean the coin and just take it straight to a professional for authentication. Even without the silver error, some 1982D quarters can be worth decent money if they are in extremely high grades. Coins graded MS66 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars due to the rarity in pristine condition. Let's break down the general value range. Circulated 1982D quarters are generally worth face value, 25 cents. Uncirculated examples can go for $10 to $50. If graded MS66 or above, the value jumps to $300 or more. Rare die varieties or errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, or wrong plan case, can command anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 depending on severity and condition. And if, just if, you happen to find the rumored silver Planket 1982D quarter, then you might be looking at $1 million coin. So next time you go through your change, take a second look at those quarters. That ordinary-looking coin from 1982 might be hiding a fortune in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a coin that could change your life. Have you ever found a rare coin in your pocket change? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Would you like a version with added timestamps, visuals, or suggestions for B-roll footage to match the script? Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and valuable finds that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Today, we're uncovering the secrets of the 1988D Washington quarter. That's right, a simple-looking 25-cent coin minted in Denver back in 1988 could actually be worth up to $1.2 million under the right circumstances. You won't want to miss this one, so stick around because this is one of the most intriguing stories in modern coin collecting. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. It was originally created to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and the design by John Flanagan became one of the most recognized coins in the United States. Over the decades, there have been many changes in the materials, designs, and mint marks, but the quarter remained a constant in our currency. By 1988, quarters were being made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, a far cry from the 90% silver used before 1965. The 1988D quarter was produced at the Denver Mint, and millions of them were struck that year. In fact, over 596 million of them entered circulation, which might make you think they're all common. But as every collector knows, it's not always about how many were made up, it's about how many were made with something unusual. So why is the 1988D Washington quarter attracting attention from collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike? It all comes down to rare minting errors, die varieties, and even the possibility of a small handful of these coins being struck on the wrong metal. These are the coins that turn a common piece of change into $1 million discovery. Let's talk about the rumors first. There have been whispers in numismatic circles for years about a small batch of 1988D quarters that were accidentally struck on silver plankets, leftover blanks that should have been long gone from the mint's production line by that time. Imagine a 1988 quarter, but instead of the standard copper core with the nickel coating, it's pure silver. If such a coin exists, it would be considered a minting miracle. One such coin allegedly sold in a private transaction for an estimated $1.2 million, based on its extreme rarity, perfect condition, and silver composition. Now, because these kinds of private deals rarely come with public documentation, the sale remains unconfirmed. But the possibility alone has kept collectors on high alert. So what exactly should you look for? First, flip the coin over and inspect the edge. A normal 1988D quarter will show a layered edge, a visible striping of copper and nickel. But the silver Planket quarter will have a completely solid, silver-colored edge with no copper in sight. That's the first red flag that you might have something special. Next, weigh the coin. A standard-clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A quarter struck on a silver planchet would weigh closer to 6.25 grams. Use a precise digital scale to measure it down to the hundredth of a gram. If your coin weighs more than expected, it's time to take it to a coin expert or a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if you don't find one of these silver planchet errors, there are still other valuable 1988D quarters out there. Coins with high-grade mint states, especially those graded MS67 or higher, are worth significantly more than face value. Because these coins were heavily circulated, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare. In fact, an MS67 1988D quarter has sold for several $1,000s at auction. Then you have die variety ASA coins that were struck with misaligned dies, doubled dies, or other striking issues. These can include off-center strikes, die cracks, and broad strikes. Each type of error tells a unique story of how the coin was made, and collectors love that. So let's break it down with a rough value guide for the 1988D Washington quarter. Circulated coins are typically worth 25 cents to $1, depending on condition. Uncirculated examples in average mint state grades can fetch between $10 and $50. Coins graded MS66 or MS67 can command between $200 and $3,000. Verified minting errors, like double dies or off-metal strikes, can be worth hundreds or even tens of thousands. And in the most extreme, ultra-rare cases, if you hold a 1988D quarter struck on a silver planchet and in flawless condition, you could be looking at a coin that's worth upwards of $1.2 million. So what's the takeaway here? Never overlook your pocket change. What might look like just another quarter could actually be a key to a life-changing discovery. Check the edges, weigh the coin, examine it for errors, and if in doubt, get it authenticated. You could be holding a coin worth more than a house. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed learning about the fascinating story of the 1988D Washington quarter, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss another episode. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or if you'll be checking your quarters a little more carefully from now on. Until next time, happy collecting and keep your eyes open. You never know what treasures are out there waiting to be discovered. Would you like a follow-up version with visuals, coin close-up descriptions, or background music suggestions to enhance your video production? Welcome back to the channel where we explore the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unexpected fortune. Rarest coins. Today, we're going to take a close look at the 1981D Washington quarter. Now, on the surface, this might seem like just another old quarter that you might find in your change, but there's a version of this coin that has shocked the numismatic world. A rare variety so valuable that it's rumored to be worth as much as $1.5 million. That's right, $1.5 million for a 25-cent coin. So how is that even possible? Let's start by understanding the history of this coin and why the 1981D Washington quarter stands out. The Washington quarter series began in 1932, originally as a one-year commemorative coin to mark the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, but it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage and has been in circulation ever since. For decades, these quarters featured the classic design by John Flanagan, with Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. By 1981, quarters were being struck in a copper nickel-clad composition, a change made back in 1965 to replace the 90% silver previously used. The D Mint mark on the 1981 quarter tells us it was produced at the Denver Mint, which struck over 500 million quarters that year. That makes this coin very common, or at least, most of them are. But as with many coins in U.S. history, what turns something common into something extraordinary is the presence of a mint error or a production anomaly. And the 1981D quarter has a few secrets hidden beneath the surface. Let's talk about the legendary $1,000,000 coin first. There's a story in numismatic circles about a 1981 quarter that was mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different coin. The details vary depending on who you ask, but the most consistent version is that a small number of 1981 quarters were struck on plancase meant for the Susan B. Anthony dollar. That's a major mistake. The Anthony dollar was also made from copper nickel clad but was larger, and its planchet weighed more. When one of these blanks was mistakenly fed into the quarter press and struck with quarter dies, the result was an off-metal error, a one-of-a-kind coin with unmatched rarity. One such specimen was reportedly found, authenticated, and graded in near-flawless condition by a leading grading company. With its incredible combination of rarity, historical error, and mint state quality, the coin was said to have been sold in a private transaction for around $1.5 million. While exact auction details remain private, this coin has become a legend among collectors and the kind of find that keeps people checking their change every single day. Now that we've talked about the $1,000,000 version, let's get into what makes the 1981 Washington quarter worth more than face value, even in its more common forms. First, condition is everything in the coin world. Most quarters from 1981 are heavily circulated, which means they've been handled, dropped, scratched, and worn down over decades. But if you come across a 1981 quarter in uncirculated condition, meaning it has no signs of wear and still has its original luster, it could be worth much more. In fact, high-grade examples graded MS-66 or higher can sell for hundreds of dollars depending on the market and the demand from collectors. Some examples of the 1981 quarter in MS-67 condition have sold for as much as $700 or more at auction, simply because finding one in that pristine condition is so rare. Next, keep an eye out for errors. The 1981 quarter has been known to appear with a few types of minting mistakes that can drive up its value significantly. These include double die errors, off-center strikes, clipped plancase, and broad strikes. Any of these can increase the coin's worth from a few dollars to several thousand depending on severity and condition. Let's break it down with the general value range for the 1981 quarter. Circulated coins in average condition are worth 25 cents to maybe $1. Uncirculated coins can range from $5 to $25. Coins graded MS-66 to MS-67 can sell from $100 to $700 or more. Rare mint errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or wrong planchet errors can fetch anywhere from a few hundred to tens of thousands. And in the rarest case of all, a 1981 quarter struck on the wrong planchet, graded in mint condition, could be worth as much as $1.5 million. So what should you do if you think you found a valuable 1981 quarter? First, examine the coin closely. Look at the mint mark. How the D should be located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Check the coin for unusual features, any doubling in the lettering, unusual color or texture, or any features that seem off. Then weigh the coin. A normal quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin is heavier or lighter, that could indicate a planchet error. Finally, if the coin looks especially sharp, clean, and untouched, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Getting your coin authenticated and graded is the best way to determine its true value and attract serious interest from collectors and dealers. This is why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting hobbies out there. The idea that a coin minted decades ago and sitting unnoticed in a coin jar could be worth thousands or even millions keeps the thrill alive for collectors around the world. And the 1981 quarter is a perfect example of how history, error, and condition can all combine to turn pocket change into life-changing money. Thanks for watching and joining us for another deep dive into a fascinating piece of American coin history. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss our next story about rare coins and hidden treasure. And let us know in the comments if you've ever come across an unusual coin in your change. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and happy collecting. Would you like help with a thumbnail title, video tags, or ideas for visual elements to go along with the script? Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden world of rare coins, valuable currency, and incredible finds that might just be sitting unnoticed in your wallet. Today, we're turning the spotlight on a coin that's surprisingly modern but has collectors buzzing at the 1998p Washington quarter. Most people see this coin and think it's just another piece of spare change, but there's one version of it out there that could be worth an eye-popping $1.1 million. Yes, a simple 25-cent piece, potentially worth more than a luxury home. Let's start with the background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and over the decades, it's become one of the most circulated and recognizable coins in the country. By 1998, the quarter was still carrying the original design by John Flanagan, but big changes were right around the corner. The following year, in 1999, the United States Mint would launch the famous 50-state quarters program, a move that brought a whole new wave of interest to coin collecting. But before that program kicked off, the 1998 quarters marked the end of an era. Minted in Philadelphia, the 1998p Washington quarter was one of the last to feature the classic eagle reverse before it was replaced with unique state designs. That alone makes it notable, but what really gives this coin its legendary status are the rare minting errors and unexpected variations that have since been discovered. So how can a 1998p quarter possibly be worth over $1 million? It all comes down to one thing: a rare minting mistake that resulted in a transitional error. According to reports from collectors and numismatic experts, a small number of 1998 quarters were struck using dies intended for the upcoming 1999 state quarters, specifically the design elements meant for the Delaware quarter. This would be an extreme rarity. In the world of coin collecting, these are known as transitional errors, coins struck with elements from two different designs or generations of production. They only happen in extremely limited numbers, often by accident when the mint is testing new dies or switching over machinery. One such 1998p transitional error quarter reportedly surfaced in pristine condition. Not only did it carry faint outline details of the upcoming state design, but it also showed characteristics consistent with the test strike, features not intended for public release. This coin was graded at a top-tier mint state, believed to be MS68 or higher, and verified as authentic by a major grading service. When it was offered privately, it was rumored to have fetched a jaw-dropping $1.1 million due to its uniqueness and place in numismatic history. So what does this mean for the average person? It means there could be rare 1998p quarters still out there, tucked away in coin jars, old rolls from the bank, or collections that haven't been fully examined. Most 1998p quarters are extremely common, with over 896 million minted. But it's not about the quantity, it's about the anomalies. A rare minting mistake, combined with high-grade preservation, is what turns an ordinary coin into $1 million masterpiece. Here's what to look for if you want to spot a valuable 1998p quarter. First, flip the coin and check the reverse. You're looking for anything unusual: blurred lettering, design inconsistencies, weak strikes, or any detail that looks slightly off from a typical 1998 eagle reverse. Next, check for doubling. While a true double die variety has not been officially documented for this year, coins with doubling on the date, lettering, or Liberty inscription can be worth the premium. Now here's a pro tip: weigh the coin. A normal clad 1998p quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If the weight is significantly different, it could indicate a planchet error, meaning the coin was struck on the wrong type of metal, which is a major value booster. And finally, assess the condition. Coins that show no signs of wear, have a bright original luster, and display sharp strike details are candidates from professional grading. Coins graded MS67 or higher can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, even without an error, simply because high-grade modern quarters are harder to find than you'd think. So let's break it down. Circulated 1998p quarters are generally worth face value 25 cents. Uncirculated examples can range from $1 to $5. Coins graded MS-66 and MS-67 may be worth between $50 to $250. An MS-68 example, depending on demand, could bring in $1,000 or more. And rare Mentera examples, like transitional design strikes or coins struck on experimental plan case, can reach values into the thousands or even the $1 million range, just like the one said to be sold for $1.1 million. That's why this coin has become such a hot target among collectors. The mystery, the rumors, the thrill of discovery, it's all there. And the best part, this isn't a coin from the 1800s. This is a quarter from just a few decades ago, a coin that millions of people have handled, spent, and stashed away, never knowing what might be sitting in their hands. So the next time you're going through your change, don't just glance at the coins. Take a good look at that 1998p quarter, flip it over, study the design. And if anything looks even slightly out of the ordinary, it might be time to get that coin graded. You never know, you might be looking at $1 million discovery hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching and joining us on this deep dive into one of the most intriguing quarters in recent history. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video about coins that could change your life. Share your rare coin stories in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, keep checking your change, and happy collecting. Would you like a companion short version for social media promotion or ideas for visuals and editing style for this script?